All right, hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Derek James here, and welcome to all you government contractors. Today we are following up, as promised, from my last video. If you didn't check it out, I highly recommend it. In regards to GSA centralization, this is an ongoing, unrolling, unveiling executive order that was initially kicked off last month in March. And so I promised that I would give you a follow-up with some additional information, some potential timelines for what's unraveling, as well as some, I guess, other interesting takes that I thought would be worth having here on the channel and opening up in the conversation. So this video is going to be a lot of reading. I've got a few pages here that I'm going to be reading from primarily. I will interject a little bit of opinion perhaps in between. But because we've got a lot to get through, I kind of just want to get through it. So we will go ahead and get started. And for all these source links, I will link up all these sources in the video description to give credit, as well as, of course, for you to go and read these on your own so you can see where I'm pulling from. So to get started, we are pulling from the White House, eliminating waste and saving taxpayer dollars by consolidating procurement. Okay, of course. And I'm going to kind of paraphrase some of this. Consolidating domestic federal procurement in the General Services Administration, GSA, the agency designed to conduct procurement, will eliminate waste and duplication while enabling agencies to focus on their core missions of delivering the best possible services for the American people. We kind of know this from the first video that I made. So now, procurement consolidation timelines. Within 60 days of the date of this order, agency heads shall, in consultation with the agency's senior procurement officials, submit to the administrator proposals pursuant to 40 U.S.C. 101, 40 U.S.C. 501, or other relevant authorities to have GSA conduct domestic procurement with respect to common goods and services for the agency where permitted by law. So this is basically partially a notification. Working with the agency head, will need to submit to the administrator proposals to have GSA conduct their procurement respect to common goods and services for the agency. Okay, this is going to be going out to all the federal agencies as far as I can tell. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the administrator shall submit a comprehensive plan to the director of OMB for the GSA to procure common goods and services across the domestic components of the government where permitted by law. So within 90 days, there needs to be a comprehensive plan submitted by the administrator to OMB for GSA. Essentially, how are we going to do this? So it sounds like within 60 days, we're kind of working with the individual agencies. And then within 90 days, it's kind of being rolled up, taken upstairs. It's a little bit out of order. Within 30 days of this order, pursuant to 40 U.S.C., the director of OMB shall designate the administrator as the executive agent for all government-wide acquisitions, which is why they're saying the administrator for the 60, 90-day plans for IT. So right out of the gate, within 30 days, they're taking over IT. The administrator, in consultation with the director of OMB, shall defer or decline the executive agent designation for government-wide acquisition contracts, GWACs, for IT, information technology, when necessary to ensure continuity of service or as otherwise appropriate. The administrator shall further, on an ongoing basis and consistent with applicable law, rationalize government-wide indefinite delivery contract, IDIQ contracts, vehicles for IT for agencies across the government, including as part of identifying and eliminating contract duplication, redundancy, and other inefficiencies. So within 30 days, they're getting all over IT. And then within 14 days, I don't know why they didn't do this in pecking order. Within 14 days of the date of this order, the director of OMB shall issue a memorandum to agencies implementing subsection C of this section, which was what I just read, essentially designating the administrator for IT contracts. So 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. That's what we have so far. It's primarily communication and planning, with the exception for a more aggressive take towards IT early on. So that was from the White House. I'm going to keep things rolling here and move on to the next spot, which is a update from GSA itself. So an update from the GSA website itself. GSA to right-size multiple award schedule program. The MASP program, March 24th. The MASP program is widely recognized as the largest commercial acquisition program in the world, with sales exceeding $51.5 billion in fiscal year 24. It plays a critical role in helping government customers purchase commercial products and services at pre-negotiated prices, with competition at the order level to secure additional savings. In addition, the MASP program provides access to thousands of vetted contractors, offers fair and reasonable pricing, provides acquisition and technology guidance, and provides customized terms and conditions. Some of the key areas of this right-sizing effort will include: 1. Allowing MASP contracts that do not meet sales thresholds and FSS clause IFFSS 639 contract sales criteria to expire. So I'll say that again. Allowing MASP contracts that do not meet the sales thresholds to expire. So underutilized contracts where there's not enough buying happening, they're gonna expire. Addressing MASP contractor non-compliance. Number 2, including performance concerns which help ensure that only productive and compliant contracts remain in the program. So number 2 is about non-compliance contractors. Number 3, simplifying processes, eliminating inefficiencies and ensuring proper alignment of management and oversight within the program, making it more effective and user-friendly for both contractors and government agencies. It is what it is. Number 4, eliminating items with insufficient market demand or where administrative costs outweigh procurement benefits, making them unsuitable for the MASP program. And I think that's an interesting point, because what will happen to goods and services and i.e. contracts that are deemed to be not suitable for the MASP program? Because they can't just go away, can they? And then lastly, reducing redundancies with other procurement channels across the government, which is also interesting, reducing redundancies with other procurement channels. So this is essentially a GSA centralization, somewhat of a takeover, but they're acknowledging other procurement channels, and GSA is speaking to them as they will continue to exist and be utilized. And then also they're referring to items that are not suitable for the MASP program. Keep that in mind. In alignment with the Trump-Vance administration, focus on cutting waste. Blah, blah, blah. Next. This next piece is from the Federal News Network. GSA to cut 577 schedule vendors and 31 SINs. The GSA is targeting as many as 577 schedule holders for removal in the next 6 months. That's contractors. That's 577 government contractors getting the boot from GSA schedules. These are companies who have either not met their sales quota in the last year or have performance or compliance issue. As you know, you only are typically on a GSA schedule for a couple of years. If you don't meet minimum sales quota, they kick you off, which is why I've been so outspoken, in part kind of against jumping on GSA schedules if you haven't even won contracts yet. Because if you're not winning contracts and then you don't win them on the GSA schedule, it'll probably take you 20 to 30 grand to work with consultants to get on the GSA schedule. And then if you're not selling enough, you get booted off anyways. Not to mention who's got an extra 20, 30 grand laying around just to get a ticket to the big show. Additionally, GSA is planning on removing 31 special item numbers, 31 SINs, under the schedule program, including several that average less than $25,000 in sales annually. These include 11 in the professional services category and 7 in the office management area. So I also think that is interesting, and we can talk about that in a little bit too. Because what's going to happen with these 11 and 7? It's a good question. Are they just going to go away? Are they going to go somewhere else? Federal News Network also talks a bit about history of some things like this happening with GSA in the past. So, in my best effort to bring completeness and continuity to this conversation, I'm not making these news videos to be doom and gloom or to scare you guys. I'm trying to keep you informed, and I'm trying to bring, like I said, the full pictures as much as I can research and find. While this has been the goal of every previous administration, cutting the dead wood off the schedules has found limited success. In 2012, GSA found as many as 60%, 6-0, of contractors on some of the scheduled contracts received little or no business. Again, this was in 2012. At the time, FAST leadership said it would implement a new demand-based model, which will let the agency focus on products and services agency customers want the most, closing down the underused schedules to new companies. Then in 2014, GSA said it cut about 1,000 vendors, 1,000 government contractors from Schedule 70, the IT 70 schedule, the mass schedule, if you know, for not meeting minimum annual sales requirements of $25,000 a year. GSA said that move saved the agency about $3.2 million a year in administrative costs, probably just having these non-active contractors on the schedule. Alan Thomas, the former commissioner of FAST, during the first Trump administration, said what GSA is doing is a natural outgrowth of the ongoing schedule consolidation effort that kicked into gear in 2018. It's a natural follow-on, in quotes, to eliminate vendors who have low sales. During the pandemic and for other reasons, GSA had softened its rules around that a little bit. But now this is just some cleanup and an appropriate tightening for some of those rules, particularly around low sales vendors. Now, the founder of, said Thomas, who is now the founder of Alpha Tango Strategies, in an interview with Federal News Network. This isn't crazy stuff, and given the administration's focus on efficiency and streamlining, it's a natural area to look at. It moves the needle a little bit. It's a good, useful step and a good business house cleaning. And then another GSA official who requested anonymity in order to talk to the press said the reductions made a lot of sense. These contracts are like zombie contracts. They just are sitting there, said the former official. I find it hard to find a downside other than folks could argue it's anti-small business. Yeah, go figure. But if you aren't meeting the goals over 4 years of the contract, which aren't that high, then your contract deserves to be canceled. Moving on. A website called Squared Compass kind of foreshadowed back to March 11th when this was being considered. They brought up a few important points that I thought would be worth sharing with you all as well. It's kind of like if this were to go into play as a foreshadow, which is now going into play, some challenges and considerations. So despite potential benefits and savings, centralization procurement under GSA prevents several challenges that must be addressed. Number one, transition complexity and implementation risks. First, shifting procurement authority from multiple agencies to GSA requires an extensive transition plan, including IT integration, training, and regulatory adjustments. Next, the process of consolidating contracts, vendor databases, and procurement workflows could lead to temporary disruptions. True. And agencies may resist relinquishing control over procurement, leading to bureaucratic pushback. And I talked about this last time as well because, well, in my last video, agencies that are buying for themselves, as most have been, are now going to lose that autonomy. And so they may be fearful of essentially getting the goods and services that they are currently buying for themselves, purchased in a way that is what they're needing and in the timeline that they're needing, right? It's going to be, I think there will be some pushback, to say the least, and it can draw out this timeline. Next, balancing efficiency with agency-specific needs. So some agencies have unique procurement requirements due to their missions, such as emergency response, FEMA, which we may not have to worry about too much longer, scientific research like NASA, or national security within the DoD, which is a big one for us government contractors, of course, especially. And a one-size-fits-all approach may not be viable, requiring GSA to develop flexible procurement solutions that accommodate specialized agency needs. And that's kind of what I was alluding to when I highlighted some of the previous points. Next, vendor and industry adjustments. So first, a shift to centralized procurement could affect vendors, particularly small businesses, you better believe it, and those relying on direct agency relationships. If GSA consolidates procurement into fewer large contracts, it could limit opportunities for small and minority businesses. And that was my kind of concern that I expressed in the last video. If things are going to kind of be gobbled up, boiled down, consolidated, it's going to kind of help the more established companies, and it's going to hurt more of the new and the up-and-coming small businesses and set-aside businesses. But again, I keep highlighting these different points of other platforms, things that may not be a good fit for mass schedules. For legal and regulatory hurdles, GSA's authority to take over procurement across agencies may require legislative or regulatory changes, and I think for sure there could be a lot of potential red tape there. Some agencies operate under specific procurement statutes, like FAR Part 12 for commercial items or DFARS for defense acquisitions. So that's us, guys. That may not align with GSA's contracting model. And then legal challenges from stakeholders who oppose the transition could also slow down implementation. And then lastly, workforce and cultural resistance. Federal procurement officials across agencies may resist centralization due to concern about job security, career progression, or loss of decision-making authority. So, a whole lot of reading. I tried to unpack some along the way. I don't know how much more I need to unpack here, but the one additional thing that I want to point out, because this is not a doom and gloom type thing, is remember how many GSA schedule holders are being cut, and it's not that they're active, they're inactive. And if they're inactive, it doesn't seem like that disruptive of a thing. And then they're also taking off sins, certain procurement buys that just are not being met successfully by GSA schedule holders on the different mass schedules. I think those are going to go somewhere. This, coupled with the need for some autonomy, certainly pushback, and like set aside goals, these sorts of things are not going anywhere, guys. As far as what I've been able to find. I think the use of open market contracting, like SAM.gov and especially SAM.gov for federal contracts, SAM.gov is going to be there, in my opinion, to kind of fill a lot of these gaps and pick up a lot of these pieces. This is not a doom and gloom administrative, let's complain about the president, poor me, victim mentality crap. Like, I've had some comments on the last video. Honestly, I've straight up deleted them, so you won't even find them. And that's not why I'm making these videos, and that's not what I'm wanting in return for this video either. Yes, these are kind of choppy, turbulent times. But remember, we just got through COVID. And look at what they did with GSA in 2012 and 2014. Like, this isn't new. And they started some of this stuff back in 2018. So for you government contractors who are not wanting to be a Chicken Little, say that the sky is falling, yes, there can be changes that are happening that affect government contracting for the next decade, maybe forever. These are turbulent times. But during turbulent times, there's opportunities. You can run away, or you can find ways to grow into this and take advantage of this when other people are like, you know what, forget government contracting. You know, it's done. I don't believe it's done. Nothing I've read suggests that it's done. The hardest thing would be if all contracts, or not all, the vast majority of contracts that small businesses would go after, including contracts below simplified acquisition. Because keep in mind, guys, most SAT contracts are not even on GSA schedules. It's not a good use of the schedule. So for us new GovCons, whether you're legal middlemanning, whether you are or you aren't, I think there's going to be just as much opportunity. And I don't say that lightly, but from what I'm reading, what I'm researching, the conversations I'm having, this is a shifting around. And although in a reduced lens, it looks like an elimination of certain things, I do believe also, and we haven't talked about it, there's going to be the creation of other things, which is the moving around. You know, the federal government still needs to operate. And sure, some stuff may be going to the state. But what other new things are going to be created? Even new agencies are being created. The ERS, Doge, if you will, which is maybe not the best example. But are there going to be more productive possible opportunities that come over the coming years? I think it's highly possible. But for now, we have to take it day by day. There are still many opportunities on SAM.gov. I'm on there every day. We'll probably be doing more SAM.gov videos as well to demonstrate that to you. And as I said in the last video, we're coming into the busy season, guys. It's going to take a lot of time for all this to be implemented. And once it is all implemented, things never end up the way that they're started, right? And with red tape, with pushback, like, I do not believe this is the end of federal contracting. And I don't believe federal contracting is going to require only GSA schedules. I believe there's going to be lots of open market opportunities still. And I think that will likely still be with SAM.gov because it's there. And it's constantly being updated and worked on, and I don't think they're just gonna, scrap that or throw that away. I really don't. And as I shared in the first video as well, an optimistic outlook is as they are pruning GSA schedules and things aren't a great fit there, and maybe it's miscellaneous, maybe it's too small, whatever, SAM.gov may be that bin that starts getting even more contracts put on it, not less. I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that. But we only have what we have. I will continue to keep you updated because I believe that 14-day first state of the order is maybe today, April 3rd, the day I'm recording this. So we will keep doing these. The first video of this many people found it informative, and it's a good reason for me to continue to dive into things as well. If you want additional support, especially during these important times, these turbulent times, I have a training which is very good for government contractors. It's free for government contractors. I will link that down below. And I highly recommend everybody go through that. It will position you in a way where you can be best positioned to be safeguarded from these potential changes throughout the year and so forth. So positioning yourself properly now is going to be even more key than ever to make sure that your government contracting business can continue to not only stand on its own 2 feet, but to grow and thrive. Okay? And so I talk about that in my training, and it's so important. That's why I make the training free. Link for that is down below. Also, I recommend everybody to get my book. If you're needing support in these times, the book can help you a lot. We don't just talk about one thing in the book. It's going to arm you with proposal writing, working with subcontractors, pricing, regulations, especially if you're middlemanning. That's why we call it the legal middleman method, right? And probably within a year, I'll be having to make some updates to the book. But I just ordered 1,000 of them, and I've got them in my garage because I sign, pack, ship all of them myself. Me and Lala, we do them all ourselves. So if you want something real, something that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into, and if you're like, dare kind of get the audio version because I'm not really a book reader, everybody tells me they do this book in 1 or 2 sittings. It is 200 pages, but it is just so easy to consume, and it's filled with lots of examples, some really helpful illustrations and pictures, and is broken down in a way that is really kind of common sense and no nonsense, the way that I try to make these videos as well, no fluff, so that you can just kind of consume it. And people really, really love the book. Lastly, if you're looking for serious training, if you need serious proposal writing support, working with subcontractor support, I do recommend my comprehensive flagship course training. Okay, I've iterated it for over nearly 5 years now, and it is jam-packed with over 100 lessons, dozens of templates, and real no fluff stuff where you actually do work. It's not idly sitting back watching videos because nobody needs this. So if you're at that stage of where you're really serious and you're needing a little bit more support than maybe what a book or a free training can do, my flagship course helps people win contracts every single month. I get emails every single month. Testimonials are on my website, govkidmethod.com/course. And these are different ways that I can move forward with and help you right now, especially in these kind of turbulent times. And if you're watching this video, like the video. If you need to share it with somebody needs to hear what we're talking about. If you need to bring them into this conversation and you don't feel like explaining it all to them, send them the video link. Okay, this is a YouTube video, it's shareable. And then also let me know what's going through your head with the information that I shared. Write that in the comments below. I want to hear how this is landing for you. Is this freaking you out? Are you seeing this as an opportunity? Are you pursuing with your business irregardless? Are you holding back? Like, what are you doing with this information? Is it affecting you? Is it not affecting you? How is it affecting you? That's the conversation I want to have down in the comments. So let's get that started. Go ahead and write that in the comments down below. And again, if you like these news videos, also let me know in the comments if you want me to keep making these, because I'm doing it for you guys. Okay? So hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching, and we will go ahead and see you all in the next one. Take care.